big deal, big event. This is the last generation we have of people who lived through probably the worst atrocity of human history. So we should ask a lot of questions and be really honored to have Dr. Erica Miller here. She's an author, award-winning author.
International bestseller. Hey, I don't brag, I just share.
International bestseller. Life experiences that I'm not even going to bore you by doing it with my voice because you have to hear it from her. And I'm just so excited to hear you speak. And before that, we're just going to have like 30 seconds of words from Rabbi Matt from JGSI. They helped sponsor the event, and they always help, so we're really appreciative.
Thank you, everyone.
And how about the blessing so I don't mess up?
You're going to be amazed. You should bless me, really. That's I deserve it less. So thank you guys for coming today. This is an incredible turnout, and that's thanks to your amazing leadership of the JLSA today, to David and to Arya and to the rest of the board who really went all out in the recruitment efforts today. So please give them a hand. When this event was started to be planned, and it was really Andrew, who we're going to embarrass a little bit later.
My grandson.
You're going to hear a lot about Andrew. So we've been talking about this idea for a long time, and knowing that Andrew's grandmother is such a prolific speaker and writer and somebody who we can really learn so much from. And we said that if we're going to make this happen, it's got to be an effort where we fill a room and where we get people really coming out from all different walks of life and all different backgrounds to hear this message. As David mentioned, this is the last remaining decades where we can actually hear from survivors of the Holocaust. And this is a very meaningful project for myself, my own family, my own grandparents went through the Holocaust. And I've led tours to Poland before to see the concentration camps firsthand with your own eyes. If you can get on one of those trips, I strongly recommend it. It's a life-changing experience, and it gives you a different perspective on what it means to be a decent human being and where your place is in history. There's a very crazy statistic going around. I don't know if it's true, but it's something to the effect that, I think, David, you mentioned this, about 60% of the current generation of millennials aren't sure whether the Holocaust happened. Is that accurate, something like that?
I think it's they don't know what happened.
They don't know what happened in the Holocaust. They might have heard the word, but they don't know what it means. And we grew up with the slogan of never forget, but we're approaching a time in history where we're far enough away from the events that transpired 75 years now, where people are beginning to forget. And it's essential that we hear this message, that you remember the words that you hear from Dr. Miller today, that you tell them to your own children and your own grandchildren, to make sure that the memory of this tragedy in human history and in Jewish history is never forgotten, and that we learn the lessons of the incredible atrocities that were perpetrated by the Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 1940s, and that we, the Jewish people and our friends around the world, remember that no matter what, we will always survive, we will always pass on our beautiful heritage and our beautiful culture to the next generation. Am Yisrael Chai, the nation of Israel lives. Thank you. Please give Dr. Miller your full attention.
To say I'm excited to be here is an understatement. It's just to make Andrew proud. No, it's a big deal. I'm called Bobby, babushka, old lady. And guess what? I'm an old lady. If you have it, you flaunt it. I just turned 85. Look at me. And forgive me, I'm all over the place, because now that I let the chicken out of the coop, I'm 85, I just need to share with you. It's a number. In the last 6 months, I travel all over the place. Remember, I'm an international seller, speaker. I was in Tibet, Himalayan mountain. I walked up on Mount Everest, 17,000 feet with the base, with National Geographic. I was in New Zealand, Auckland. I jumped out of a plane with my granddaughter, his sister, and it's all on my website. I was in Vietnam, in Cambodia, in Israel. all the last 6 months. So my point being is, life is an amazing journey for me. And a Holocaust survivor sounds, again, I'm just lucky to be alive. And it's not just living, it's living well, the good life. Everything else, you know what, is unimportant. And so for me to be able to address audiences like you that have never heard and you've never seen somebody that lived through the horrors. And I am fearless, I am tough in spite of it, because of it. How many know somebody that survived Holocaust, 4 years? 1, 2, 3. Okay, some of you, okay? So I am an antique, precious, because I'm alive and ticking. So for me to be with you and inform you, not poor me, it is like, look at me. All of us have traumas in our life here and there, but it's about the resilience and surviving and making a life meaningful. And what does it mean, meaningful? To be engaged, to be part of the community, to take care of ourselves. There's something bigger than us. And the rabbi is here with faith. I struggle with God. It's kind of, I don't know, but I know, and I'm not Einstein. There is something greater than us. And for us to be here, for me to be alive, after all I went through, is like absolutely amazing. Give me a gift of life, and I have it. So I just came last week, because we have to remember it in order to, and questions will be asked of me, how do we prevent, what can we do? Last week, I was in Texas, a school district, 4 schools, 700 young kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th grader in this big arena. There was nobody Jewish there, doesn't have to be, but all week long they were taught about the Holocaust. So it seems like the interest lately, because maybe there's more anti-Semitism in the world, who knows? I know that people like, students, whether they're in 7th grade or whether you're here, it seems to be, more, they're more seeking to learn about what was so it does not happen again. Now, when I was told, you're Jewish, you're a dirty little girl, you have no right to live, it didn't make sense to me. So when I was little, I became very tough. I looked, this is me and my papa walking before the war started. We had a regular, normal life. We lived in a compound. My grandparents had a steel factory down below, and there were 4 condo suites for my cousins. And so everything was normal. In Chernobyl, it was Austria, Romania when I was born. It was Austria when my parents were born. And then it became, Romania, Nazi, and then Russia, and now it's Ukraine. So my mother tongue is German. So when I knew, I was 7 years old. So what did I know? I just saw, my faces from my parents and my uncles and the noises, whatever. And now we have to go run and hide in the attic. I could not understand, remember, 7 years old. If you don't tell a kid, I knew something was happening. And I asked questions, what's going on there? Nobody gave me any answers, and my mother kept on saying, don't ask so many questions. So we ran and we hid in the attic. And I remember, her hands over my mouth, because the dogs and the Nazis, they were hunting Jews to gather them together. Some were shot, some were, I was not, I heard the stories. I knew that we were hiding, and my father could not handle the stress any longer. So he decided, we are going to voluntarily go to the train station where they gathered those people that were not shot on the floor together to go on the trains to nowhere. We did not know. So I have flashes. We are speaking about trauma. I saw all the mayhem and people screaming, Yankel, Moishi, people get lost. And my mother was holding on to me for dear life. And my father was on the ground and he was beaten. I wanted to go and help Papa, and my mother kept me so I should not be shot, because I witnessed how babies were grabbed, people were shot, the mayhem. I see it, but I don't feel it. How lucky am I? I'm very detached. I can see, and trauma does that I have lapses of memories, meaning when we finally got, and it's too much detail, I really want to have a conversation with you and not, I'm a storyteller, but we only have about half an hour, then questions. I have flashes. I can see, we were in the camp pushed around and it's raining and all that kind of mayhem, but I don't feel it. So as a psychologist, I became later, I needed to heal others. Detachment is a wonderful thing because I see things, flashes in the camp, but I do not feel, like my sister and all, that I'm detached enough to see and not be handicapped by it. I was able to move forward. So 4 years is a long time. 4 years in a barbed wire. First, I remember, so I have spots, I don't remember any faces. And I'm a little bit wounded. I have issues with attachments because death, I saw all those dead people. And we were in this little room. We became about 20 people, maybe in a little place, one next to another, just like bodies. And everybody was like together with the family, Mama, Papa, and my sister. She was 5 years older. We were together. And this one woman, a little bit further, she was wailing. She was crying. It looked like she was all alone. She lost her family. Who knows? They were pushing. And her contorted face is with me forever. So I always wanted to touch her and my mother to comfort her. I was 7 years old, but my mother held me close by so I would not get away from her. So that contorted, painful face never will leave me. And I always knew I wanted to be a healer. So moving forward, another glimpse, I remember looking out then, somehow we had a little room just for us alone in Ukraine, and the camp was called Mogilev in Ukraine. This little room we shared with the Ukrainian mother and daughter. It's a whole different story. When the Russians liberated us 4 years later, she told them that my father collaborated with the Germans. They took him away because he spoke German and Romanian. But my point being is I remember looking out the little window, and every morning they guards, Jewish guard with those clothes that they had with the Star of David. They were coming literally and picking up bodies on the little wagon. And I was looking outside, and I remember saying, look, this looks so ugly. They're dead people. Maybe tomorrow I will be dead too, but I don't want to die ugly. I want to pose. Just before I die, I'm going to pose. For me to look good, look at me, huh? For me to look good was always very important. But my point being is, death is around me. So death to me gives meaning to life. So I'm just high on life. Life is an amazing journey. It's an adventure. Coming back after we were liberated, and again, back and forth, 4 years in camp. I remember kids playing. What do you do for 4 years? I don't know, I don't remember, but I remember playing, jumping over dead bodies. I know there should have been professors, teachers, because when we were liberated from the Russians and we somehow made it back to Romania, I went first time to school in 5th grade. I knew math, I knew to read, to write, even physics, Newton's theory of whatever. So somebody had to teach me, and I know we sang and danced. We had some stages because I remember saying, someday you'll be an actress, you'll be on stage. Guess what? I'm on stage of life. So I did a lot of those things, but those are flashes. And I don't underestimate trauma, but guess it's not just about survivor's trauma. I have, by being a psychologist and run 10 mental health clinics for 40 years, working with the courts, domestic violence, I know about trauma. I know about bullying. So it is not just about the camp. So it's a reminder. So when I speak in front of young kids, like I did for the 700 kids just last week, it is about bullying. We are our brother's keeper. We have to stand up. We have a cause. We cannot just watch and see atrocities happen, even at the risk that we will be injured. Guess what? In Jerusalem, there is, in Yad Vashem, there's a museum. There's a big, big wall in the chamber. I don't know if you were there, Rabbi, or anybody else. It's the righteous Jews, Christians, that risk their life and they save Jews. So when I lecture and when they ask me, how do you feel about Germans? I say, how do I feel about Jews? How do I feel? There are some good ones and not so good ones. Again, I don't, because we cannot blame the kids for the sins of the fathers, because there's a lot of bullying, atrocities happening right now in the world. So going back and forth, after the war, back to Romania, in 5th grade, Romanian, and looking in my classroom, anybody else doesn't make a cross. I was the only Jewish girl back in Romania. It's a Catholic country. And I kind of, but here again, I don't fit in. Again, but here, the teacher asked a question of physics, whatever. I knew the answer, and I learned it in the camp. Somebody taught it me. And nobody raised their hands. And speaking about fearless, don't tell me I cannot do it. I knew the answer. Now, you take a risk. Life takes courage, even for you. Do I answer the question and make everybody will look at me and hate me? But they show I can do it, that I have a right to live. Was so close, so strong, it still is, that I raised the hand. She had me coming to the board, and I solved the formula. And I remember this, there used to be teachers, not here. Are any teachers here? Professors? Anybody? Okay. Because in Romania, we used to think that the professor teacher, like those spinsters, those women that had no life, with a braid, with a braid and with a stick. And she took her stick, and she just, look at this Jewish girl. Here she barely can speak the language. My mother tongue was German. It was a Romanian school. I spoke Romanian just fine. And you don't know anything. What's the matter with you? So then I don't remember anything anymore with the school. That trauma can be positive or negative. That was a positive affirmation that when I say here, don't tell me I cannot do it. Living audaciously in the here and now. It's all I am who I am because of what I went through. No excuses. Life is short and stress kills. I have a quarter of life left because, again, one can live till 125. There's already somebody born, and I will tell you later because David is supposed to ask me how come 123, because I say a guide to live till 123, but I cannot resist. I'm all over the place. Somebody's already born that will be 125. The longest living person was Jane Bonnet in France. She was 122 in 64 days. If she lived till 122 in 64 days, guess what? I can live till 123. If I can do it, so can you. But not just living well. And it's a whole different kind of story. So here I came. I was lucky enough because you guys, I have a quarter of life left. I'm 85. I can live, so that means about 30 years. Guess what? Look at you. You have all those lives, and you're going to make a difference. I make a difference. I'm on this earth to empower and to share and to embrace and to encourage, because life takes courage. I said that before. You are in this profession, whatever you do, you are going to be so important. Important because you're going to touch people's lives. So my point being is, it's not just living. It is living well, and you will because you hear my voice. If not, I'm going to haunt you, even from the other side. You have chapters in life, okay? So the next chapter after the camp was, we were lucky enough to go to Israel. They opened the doors in Israel. I came to Israel in 1949. 1948, when Israel became a state. And when I came in 1949, I cannot tell you what it meant for me to be the majority. Because I have told you before, I'm wounded. I have issues with attachment. My family, and it's sad to say, I don't have any friends. Because again, if I don't see anybody, I was too busy achieving. In my age group, either they are dead or they're in homes where they're taken care of. So to me, it's like I have issues with attachment, but my family, and Andrew, you're a big, important part of me. You're going to be in my life forever. You're not going to die before me. Are you kidding me? You're going to come to my funeral, okay? So, right, I have it all planned. I even have a casket. Wait till you ask me questions about it. No, because meaning to life is death. And everything's not a big deal. I was a very hard mother to be. Unless you're dying, you go to school. Everything big drama, even now. His mother, she was almost there, but something happened. Everything is a big deal. No, stress kills. Detachment is the important thing. And you have four or five more lives, all this kind of thing, chapters. But before you can do it, you have to envision and dream it. And you have visions, then you can make it happen, because we are in America. I lived in cultures, and I'm going to be asked questions in legal, can you, whatever it is. So coming to Israel, I was the majority, and I felt safe. I have issues with trust, not only attachment. Why would I not? Trust but verify, Reagan, but I have issues with trust, but you cannot live that way. And I'm a control freak, but then I surrender to destiny. So again, both of those things. So in Israel, I was a pioneer. Girls and boys have to go 2 years to the army. They need us. But girls get away with it. If they get married, or when they say they're Orthodox, they don't have to go to the armed forces. Guess what? And I'm not a saint. But again, I have opinions. I'm strong. I'm fearless. From all my girlfriends, I was the only one that went to the Army, Air Force. I felt it's important. I went to high school, night school. Nobody went to school those days. Education was unimportant. To me, it was. I was a curious little kid. I always wanted to know everything. I still do. So I had two jobs, factory and all that kind of thing. And at night, I went 3 years high school. And because it was very rare, my mother, not my father was very worried that I would not find a husband. I was too smart. Too bad. I had to do it. I finished it. And then I wanted to go to the Air Force, not just anywhere, like the regular, because they had a handsome uniform, blue, and those pilots were gorgeous. So I was, boy, did I have crushes over them. Oh my gosh, I still do. So here I went, and they said, how are you going to go to the Air Force? It's such an elite. How will you get in? And in my denial, in my delusion, when I want something, maybe the other things I forget, I make it happen. By the way, they're making a movie out of my life. Watch me. Follow me on my website. I can see it, okay? Me and some of my patients, psychotic, they see things. But no, I saw me being in the Air Force because of the blue uniform in the pilots. And I got in 2 years in the Air Force. Because I had an education, I was in northern part, close to the Lebanon border. By the way, I was in Israel for 8 years. And I took care of the pilots when they needed pieces, things for the plane. So I had an access to all those gorgeous pilots. And I don't know whether you heard, why would you? You're young. But there used to be the president of Israel, one of the presidents, Ezer Weizmann. He was my commander-in-chief, and I was there. He was my commander-in-chief. I had such crush over him. I'm telling you, okay? I'm short, as you can see. They all were tall and handsome. Right. So when the time was over, and then obviously, when you're that age, those pilots, I was in love. My pilot, boyfriend, Aaron. And but absolutely amazing. And we planned and all that kind of things, all going to be in the movie. But then destiny happens. Destiny happens. He was killed. He was shot down, okay? And that, again, you cannot trust anybody. They die on you or they leave you. You have to be very independent, all you my own. So again, I was an old maid of 23, 24. Remember, they got married 17 and 18. So I dated some guy, Moishi. Good guy. Everybody expected me, to get married. My heart was not into. I just did not think I needed a man. Very not normal. I didn't want to. So before I married Moishi, I want to travel the world. And my sister by that time was living in Los Angeles. So here I came. I went all over Europe myself. Can you imagine in those days? Andrew, you go to Colombia. I went to New York. I went all over the place, but I was a girl. So coming to Los Angeles, I felt very strong that all Jews should live in Israel because the country needs us. I don't believe it anymore. We need to be scattered all over the world just the way we are. But I used to judge Israelis that used to go and have the opportunity, don't come back. So when I came to visit my sister in Los Angeles, and destiny, I have issues with destiny and free will. It's a whole different subject. Destiny had it that I met Andrew's grandfather through somebody. It's one of those stories. And a psychic even predicted it. Crazy, it's all in my first book, whatever I'm holding here. So, so again, destiny had it that the old maid of 25 married here. And I can only tell you that I was very, very guilty. That I was a traitor. And the only solace I had, because becoming a doctor that I wanted to be a healer in Israel was not a possibility. The only medical school was in Jerusalem. There's no way I had the money. So when I came here, destiny had it so. I had a husband with 2 kids. When my son, John, he's an attorney, by the way, it's Sony's, labor law. So when John was in 1st grade, I saw an opportunity to follow my dream. I was a married woman with 2 kids, with a Jewish boy from Independence, Missouri. He wanted me to be just one step behind him, just like his mother. So I decided I want to go back to school. I want to heal that contorted-faced woman that I told you before. Guess what? I did. And 8 years later, I had my Ph.D. in clinical psychology. And it was not easy. I was all alone again. Very lucky as a family that my husband, he didn't like it particularly. His name was Jerry. We were married 53 years, and he died about 6 years ago. But at least if he would have said, either you are my little wife, like I bargained for you, or you go to graduate school, I get a divorce. My kids would have been very happy because I was the disciplinarian, he was an enabler. Anything was fine. But we were very lucky as a family that we survived. And then he was a businessman, real estate, so he helped me open 10 mental health clinics, which I ran for about 40 years. I had about 40 therapists, whatever, because that contorted, painful woman that was with me forever. So my point being is life is an amazing journey. And you know what? And here I am having a voice, traveling all over the world, inspiring, uplifting. I mean, living long is not just living, but we are part of the human, like some of us. So we need to be there for each other. And you, especially you, I'm looking at you, you're so lucky to live in America, to have opportunity to be here. Number one, to be smart. Yeah, you're handsome. And some of you with beards are awesome. Oh, my gosh. Hey, I will always have crushes, but but if your father is divorced, if your brother is young enough, whatever, I'm available. Okay, cut. So yeah, so living with passion and purpose, an adventure, how lucky are you? And when I am high on life, and I'm not in La La Land, things happen, it gets to me, but I'm just lucky. Give me life. And for me I could be a corpse tomorrow, and we are speaking about legacy. When I die, who cares? But I do care, because I will be remembered fondly, and I'm immortal. And I don't brag, I just share. Can you imagine? Because I'm on the internet, I am an author. In 200 years from now, somebody will want to find somebody in the Israeli Air Force, Holocaust survivor, they're going to find me. So again, that makes me a little bit taller. And by the way, I shrank with a little bit. I used to lie. 5'2", now I'm a little bit less than 5. I will not tell anybody. My age I can tell, but not my height. So I guess I want now for you to ask questions, because I don't know the time. I could go on forever because I have wisdom. I attract young people like crazy because they want to grow old like me. How seductive is it? So yeah. So again, question, wisdoms. I know, David, you have some questions. Cut. Okay.
Thank you for being here. I'll ask you the questions that were submitted by our student board. Thank you guys for your submissions.
I'm so sorry, I just forgot something. Okay. We are speaking about the brutality of people and kindness of people. I've had experience of kindness of people. The German Nazi guard in the camp, I forgot, that's a really important point.
That was my first question.
I'm a mind reader too. I'm a psychic. Yeah, so again, I was curious. And my mother said, make sure you don't go to the guard, the big bad wolf. Guess what? I kind of snuck in to just look at him, right? So he grabbed me, and it's like, what's your name? I said, Erica. And I thought, no, I did it. He's going to shoot me. I didn't listen to mother. So then a softness from the brutal, ugly face, this softness came, a transformation. And I don't lie. I share, I don't brag, I don't lie, no reason for. That's kind of like a memory will never leave me to. From that scary, big German guy, almost like tearful, he said to me, I have home a little girl, her name is Erika. And he sang me that song, Auf der Heide blüht ein kleines Blümelein und es heißt Erika. On the meadow, there's a little flower, heather, and it's named Erika. It's like, you know what, you imprint it, you know, like in a cow, whatever. Memory, I mean, it's imprinted, and that is trauma as well. So to me, and then once he did that, and then he grabbed me again, this is not a place for a little girl, and he pushed me away, and I kind of stumbled, and then he threw me a candy bar. And I was not about to tell mother, so I ate, instead of sharing, I ate the whole candy bar by myself, so I don't give it away. And then it was a relationship. I snuck back and forth for him a few times. So the kindness of people, the brutality of people, and the kindness of people. So to me, when I am touched, I don't cry, but when I'm touched, when somebody's kind to me without to solicit, tears come involuntarily. So, okay. Thank you for letting me share. Go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of the questions people submitted were about your childhood and your life before the war broke out and before they took you to the camp. But do you have any memories of anti-Semitism in your neighborhood or
No,
hatred?
I do not remember. I was 7 years old. I just remember the family. I remember Sunday going to that park. It's interesting. My daughter, his mother, Diana, wanted to go and see where I lived, where the cattle train were. And I told the rabbi, I didn't want to go to Romania. Let him go to hell. I just, but why would I want to? But I'm so glad I went with her because it was an awakening for her to really get me, because I was sharing in front of the cattle carts, the trains, where we were just hoarded. It had to be horrendous for a little kid like me. And by being a tough mother and all that, by me sharing it to the driver and her, tears came out for my daughter. She said, now I get you, mother. Because again, so yeah, I don't remember. I know it was a very flourishing, community, Jewish community, but I do not remember, what before my father worked in an office, and we had neighbors. So people lived pretty, fine. I never felt that which, maybe some other people felt before.
Now we have a boring law question.
Of course, I'm surrounded by lawyers. I can do that.
So a really hot topic now is freedom of speech, and in Germany, you can get in big trouble for talking about the Holocaust in like a support.
Not right now. Not right now.
Not anymore.
No, in Germany, just the opposite. They're most,
for supporting the for denying the Holocaust.
No, there are some deniers here. But no, Germany has been very forthcoming relationship with Israel, almost like, to make up for the sins of the fathers. Mm-hmm. So they have been pretty good about that one.
Yeah, but so it's like against the law in Germany to draw swastikas or to deny the Holocaust.
Right, that's correct.
Here in the United States, it's not. So what do you think, what's your opinion about how the laws should be in this country? Do you think it's too limiting on our freedom of speech to do that? Or should we be more like
I hear you.
Should we keep it the way it is?
I hear you. From all over the world, show me a perfect country. I've lived in societies. I lived in Romania after the war, whatever, that you listen to the Voice of America. It has to be somebody guard outside because they would put you in jail. But we're speaking about moderation. I understand that you're not supposed to, when you're in a movie house, you're not supposed to scream fire, okay? So we are speaking about freedom of speech is wonderful, but inciting, allowing the neo-Nazis to do their part in what they used to do with black people and all that kind of thing. So it's a challenge. It's a hard call, but no, it's not over alles in Germany would say free speech completely, because it is dangerous in a movie house. It's dangerous because without to butt in your private life, because I don't want them to tell me what I should be doing and all that kind of thing. But clearly, in a civilized society, civilized, define civilized, we need some protection, and it's a very fine line. It's not an easy question to answer. Not all or nothing.
As we mentioned in the beginning, 62% of millennials don't know that 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust. What can we do as future leaders to spread knowledge in our communities? How can we encourage people with no connection to the Holocaust to voluntarily learn about the Holocaust and learn more?
Guess what? You're already doing it. You're here. Now I remembered, Baldwin-Dorf, Georgetown, that I was. They had the whole week. They teach them about the Holocaust. It's connected with bullying, connected with kindness. So that seems to be, it's like it was quiet. Nobody talked about nothing. Now it seems to come up that people need to, and it's mainly through schools, through organization, because there when you get the youngins. And so the Holocaust deniers are out kaput because we know better. But my experience, look, last week I was there. This week I'm here. I don't think I'm alone. They asked me to come to another school or something. I don't usually do that, but I'm saying there is hope. There seems to be interest. It's like moda. You know what moda means? Moda means, look at my shoes. Huh? They're going to be in forever. But sometimes those high spindle, high heels girls, those little, stilettos, they go out and they go in, whatever. So sometimes it's almost like recycling. So it seems the interest, historical interest, maybe because of Trump, who knows? The interest seems to be, so it's kind of like now, it's not a hot topic. But from my own experience, by being here, being there, and what I'm hearing, we are teaching history, and yes, it happened. And it's a good time to bring up about, bullying and kindness. And tikkun olam, in Hebrew, that means repair the world. We're all part of here, and you're going to be involved in repair the world to get the predators into jail and to save up those that are innocent. So you're going to do your part plus being involved in your community. So yeah. The 67, they did not know. There will be some that don't care, but it's too much in the public. By having anti-Semitism all over the place, it seems to bring up, it's like the ugly head, but what can we do? Because it's not just Jews, it's Muslims, it's gays, it's this, it's that. It's like, if you're not like me, you have no right to live. You don't have the right to this. So they're always going to be. It seems to be part of human nature to look up and down, the kindness and the brutality. So it will never not be. But it looks it's more information about the Holocaust seems to be in the media, and we need to continue because look at you here. I mean, most of you are not Jewish. The whole world is not Jewish. So any Muslims here? Hey, where are you? Hey, no, because in my Temple Aliyah in the Woodland Hills area, we have even once a month we have the black church and we have the Catholic church and we all sing together in the preacher and the rabbi, they kind of get together. We are speaking about extremists in any religion, in any party. Give me the willies. I'm scared of extremists. But other than most of us are civil. Most of us are exactly like you are, and like Andrew is, and he's a good guy. Okay, next question.
I think you covered all the.
Oh my gosh.
But everyone can ask.
You mean we still have time? Okay. Jerry, my publicist, she bosses my clock. Are you there? Am I still good? Oh, here. Okay. Ask me, because again, I have lots of wisdoms. Remember, 85 years. And innately, because again, I was the oldest student. Remember, I went back, I was about 34, 35, and all these students in my graduate school, they were young. So I didn't come to find myself. Many psychologists, and I had many hired over the years, they have their own issues and they try to find themselves. Well, I had myself. So again, I have, you know what, I have, and I'm going to continue the process of evolving forever. So the same thing with you. You're not in, and I'm going to be speaking on a Sunday in an older group. Like 75, 85, 90 with crutches, how to inspire as long as you're on earth. What can you do practically? You might not jump out of a plane, but hey, they're classes, they're community centers. Have a reason to get up in the morning. There's nothing to do with you. You are sweating it, but you're not in first year of law school anymore. Some of you are 2020 or going to graduate. Is that correct? Put your hands up. Okay, so graduation coming up. So you're going to live through it. So you don't have time to spare. So yeah, any question that you have, nothing is off the table. Yes, and your name is?
Josh.
Josh, like my grandson, another grandson, Joshua. Yes, Josh.
You seem to have always found your path pretty quickly. So what would you say back to your young self, maybe in the Air Force at the age of 23? What advice would you give yourself today? Going back?
You know what? I'm not normal, and I like it. I don't remember any regrets. People have so many regrets. I should have, I could have. Somehow it felt like at the time, and that applies to all of you moving forward, you make a decision based on the facts you have right now, and it feels right. So don't you ever dare. I wish I should have, I could have had a V8. So no, I don't see me doing anything different. And is that denial? How wonderful is that? No. I made choices as soon as I could because I wanted to go to kibbutz, the farm when I came there, I went to a agriculture school as a new Ola Hadasha, new immigrant to learn the language. And then I wanted to go to a farm because they needed us. And guess what? My parents wouldn't allow me. And I was so angry. I still needed, because I was still a minor. I was so angry because I could not follow my path. Is it the right one? I don't know. So I decided then and there, the day will come that I will have my own decisions. So to me, to look back, there's nothing. So help me. And like I said, maybe I don't lie, but maybe I just kind of whatever. No, I made decisions for me that felt right. And I see so much ambivalence among young people. And when last time when I talked at the UT in Austin, Texas, I was there a few times, the stressors the students go by, it's like my father wants me to be an engineer. I want to be a poet, for example. I said, hey, your father had his choice. Follow your heart. My girlfriend dumped me. Will I ever have a girlfriend again? Yes, you will. One door closes, the other one opens up. Again, all the things, what if? You know what? The 3.5 pounds brain that we have, the main function of the brain is fight or flight, okay? It's like, is it safe or not safe? To protect us. So all that worries, remember, we are not dinosaurs. We are resilient. You cannot, you plan, but then again, you will be able to figure it out. And that's where destiny comes. We can control events only so much. Being flexible, because again, for a control freak, I surrender to destiny. Okay, what do I do now? And you can do it too, because you can predict only so much, but you need to follow your heart. So coming back to me, I would not have done anything different. No little kid should see her father being beaten on the floor. No, but whatever. But it happened, but I am who I am because of it, in spite of it, and look at me. And guess what? I might live till 123 or more, 124, I don't know. And making decisions, because you are in the beginning of your life. How exciting it is, because you twist and turns, it's an amazing journey. And worry takes away energy. So it's easier said than done, but whenever there's something you obsess about it, what if, you be a good parent, whether you had it or not. Here I go again, I'm so boring, I'm not going to think about it. I already have this plan. If this doesn't work out, something else will. And by the way, Israeli society, I go there back every 2 years. There is no concept of failure. Do you hear me? No concept of failure. Even cartoonists, little Moishi falls down, he preps himself up and he's strong again. By not having the concept of failure like we have in this society, startups start and they go down and up. If something doesn't work out, something else will. So that is a mentality that you can incorporate in your life, because it's not that one thing, and the fear can handicap on. It's being mindful, okay, will that work out? So when a patient used to come to me and saying, I said, what do you want to see happening in 5 years from now? Well, I want to be a president of the United States. How wonderful. What party do you belong? Have a plan. If you cannot just say on this net. But other than that, if something doesn't work out, something else, because there's no such thing as failure. It's the feeble-minded person of failure. Fear is a handicap. And again, and happiness is an inside job. Because again, we can proud that we are and evolving. Those excuses, well, I cannot this, I cannot that. I will never not stop evolving till I check out, till whatever. So my point is, as an example, life is to be embraced with all its imperfections, and you will find the yin and yang of life. So big deal, you're not dying. Unless you're dying, it's a whole different story. Cut. Any other questions? Yes?
Can you tell me about your books, please?
Which one?
Well, what books have you written and tell me about them?
Okay, now, this is my life story, and it's a little bit raunchy because, the movie will be a little bit risque too. But my grandkids know, I'm a hoot. And some of it is exaggerated. Here it isn't. And so this is the first book. And you know what? I had a person, we had a gourmet club, when we were younger, when Jerry was still alive, and very righteous and all that. So when my first book, my father was a predator. He was not a pedophile. He was a bad boy. In Europe, it was like, it was acceptable. All my uncles, and my father included, had concubines, but as long as the woman had the main position. So he liked to touch, okay? So again, as a clinician, other people have family members. So I just said there, I loved my father, but it was unacceptable. So when I found out that he touched a neighbor little kid, or my son, or my daughter, or whatever it is, I met up with him and I told him, Papa, I was told that if it ever happens again, do you hear me? You'll never come to my home. You'll never see my kids. Do you hear me? The only thing he said, don't tell Mama. My mother. So it never happened. Obviously, he was not a pedophile or whatever. My point is, I have certain things, private things like that, I thought I would share because other people have issues like this in the family. I still loved him. He was my papa. He was inappropriate, okay? Or I wanted to know how my kids really felt about me. I have a daughter and a son. I was a tough mother to have. And my colleague of mine took down my life story and all that, and I said, I want you to interview my daughter, my son separately, and my husband, my sister, and I promise I will not edit out anything. And I want to see, I really like to watch death into the face. I really want to see what they felt, what they thought about me. So I was not shocked about his mother. She hated me. I was tough. Her father was the saint, and I was the witch. I get it. But my son, he was easy. He followed her, so he never was in trouble. I thought I was his first love. And he wrote there, it's all about her. She's one hot mama. So I was kind of hurt. It's all about her. Yeah, I'm first. Selfish is not bad, people. Selfish, take care of yourself before you take care of others. That's what I did. But I thought that he would be more flowery. So again, I'm proud of this book because it is me, my life story, what I think about religion, what I think about the relationship. So it is kind of, this is it. Okay, I answered that one. The second one was literally for students. When I went to the colleges and I saw the stressors, those are points, 10 points, how to deal with stress for life. It's a little something, because less is more. There's so much going on, so much stimulation, so I felt I wanted a little one, just a guide. The last one, this what made me, made me international bestseller, crazy, okay? Okay, a practical guide for healthy living to age 123, chronologically gifted, aging with gusto. I like the word gusto, that's me. Would you say so? Yeah. Okay, and living audaciously in the here and now, because we have only the now. The past is gone, the future may never be. We have to plan for it, but we have to be, even as busy as you are, to take out having balance the best you can, to have, to have friends, to do something, because it's very important to be in the moment, because young people die too. How many of your friends do you know, your peers, they died already? Wow, wow, wow. So you know about losses. And get little kids, you go to UCLA, whatever, those cancer little kids, on chemo. It's not just old people, although the old people is the fastest, growing population. They call them the tsunami. And was before 55, Medicare or whatever. Now it's 65, 75 is still young. I'm in the last group of old, 85 to plus. So my point being in the moment is really important. So this is a guide, all right, research from all over the world of the zones. People that live long and well, like in Japan and like in Korea, there's a lot of those zones. What it takes to live a long time healthily. And so that is accumulation, nothing new under the sun, but most people would not do research the way I did. And then there's a journaling. Are you where you need to be? And nothing probably you know all. Food, mindful, and you all look good to me. I could use about 10 pounds. They're all here. With exercise and being engaged in community. Faith is a wonderful thing if you have it. But again, spirituality is fine. I come back from, I'm surrounded by Buddha now. I was in Tibet, in Japan, in Cambodia. We're all with the Buddha. I have one about longevity because, but if I see it, I get my way. Maybe again, I will live long and well. So we are speaking spirituality, whatever, because there's more than us. And a big component of living long and well is actually what you give. You give, you get, the natural high. Right now, I'm high like a kite. I'm telling you, it is like, and I'm not on drugs. I'm very sensitive to drugs. It's just because I'm happy. I take good care of myself. For 40 years, I've been going to the gym, aerobics with weights. I overdid it. I have shoulder cuff surgery because I did 12 pounders. For a little person like me, nothing wrong to do 5 and 8. So again, and choices we make. Yeah, a little bit of DNA is a good thing because 23%, yes?
Sorry, because we only have 1 more minute. I saw a question over there.
You did? Oh my gosh. I wish you would have stopped me before. Forgive me.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was just wondering your experiences has given you such a zeal for life and this ambition to inspire, encourage, and all that. What were the qualities that you saw in other people, your family, or other people that survived? Did you see?
And that's exactly really amazing. Same family. My sister, 5 years older. She was beaten down all her life. Really passive. God, what can I do? The kids didn't respect her. Her husband didn't respect her. Same experience, maybe because she was older. My mother had no life. She lived through me. It's a horrible thing to say. I was glad when she died. That's a horrible thing to say. She died at 82, but she had no life. So again, I know for sure that has something to do with the way our DNA, some kind of traits. But I look around, some survivors. Look at Elie Wiesel. How many heard about Elie Wiesel? Okay. He was in Estonia. He just died. I heard him speak in Austin, Texas at UT. Yeah, there are a lot of them that are like me, but many are beaten down because, again, it's still about resilience, because surviving, there's no other species, in the world with all, we're similar like the little tsetse fly that we experiment. They're the same DNA or in rocks. But we're speaking about, I'm just lucky to be me. Because again, whenever I see somebody I don't want to make people feel bad, because again, we are very unique, but we are universal. I'm unique being me, but I'm part of you. When I cut, I bleed too, and I really care deeply, but I know my boundaries. What's your question? Anybody else? Okay, did we make the time right? Perfect. If you have a private question, you don't have to go to class. You can come here and I'll tell you anything you want to hear. Okay. It's okay if you don't. Maybe you heard more than you wanted to. It's okay. There's a lot of humanity out there. I am an optimist. The cup is half full, not empty.
Yeah, that's a nice
And,
way.
and as long as we do our part.
Yeah.
Did I answer you?
Yes,
You have
you did.
such a nice smile.
Oh,
Oh, my
thank you so
God.
much. You too.